Make the music with your mouth. Biz. Oh. Yeah.
It's about the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. Yeah, it's about the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. You can't make a change unless you got the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. You can't make a change unless you got some love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. We started from the bottom, talking about the roots. Every time I'm in the booth, I gotta shoot the truth. My art is my art.
Friends. Hey, happy Thanksgiving. We're back. We're here. We haven't had the tryptophan yet.
Yep. By the time they hear this.
Right. Actually, y'all probably be out on your asses. This is episode 10 of the Boondocks Podcast, where we are going to be covering the Itis, in which Granddad opens the Itis, the first and only soul food restaurant in Woodcrest. White people never expected it. They also didn't expect high cholesterol, heart disease, and obesity. Food children. But before we get into that, let's talk about, I don't know, any happenings you guys want to share? All that good stuff.
So much. I would like to say I'm thankful for all of you.
Aww.
And putting in the time for this. I mean, when I found that there was no podcast for this, and I said, I can't do this. This is not for me to do. So I need to find those who should be doing it and can do it. So, and I'm so happy that I found you guys and that you found us. And, and so, and do too. So yeah, hubby. So all y'all, I mean, I'm thankful for all of you guys, and you guys make my lady happy, and that makes me happy. So,
well, same.
And vice versa.
Yes, I love the way that the universe works. I could have not been on Twitter that day. Could have not come across, that tweet, and even more so, I could have done what I have a tendency to do as an Aries, is kind of talk myself out of things.
That's what he does too. Like, I literally was like, have you done something about that yet? Have you reached out yet? Because you're good at that shit. I can't do this. You need to actually find people. I'm in. If you can find people, I am so in.
And it worked. You never know what's in store for you. I know a lot of people this year have had a tough year. And I have to say that I am thankful that we have been blessed to kind of avoid things. I just unfortunately, not to take it all sad, but just unfortunately learned about a schoolmate of mine that I went to school with since 7th grade, passed from COVID 2 days ago. And that was like a whoa, a big slap not slap in the face, but I think a big reality, check. And because she just turned 40 on the 6th of November and then passed on the 24th. So, yeah. So, more and more to be thankful for every single day. And to have you all in my life is something that I cherish and that I'm gracious for. And that we are doing so well that let's say that we hit it off, first of all, that we all meshed.
Yeah.
But that we are doing so well and getting the response that we're getting. So I'm thankful for you all. I'm thankful for the podcast. I'm thankful for the Boondocks being created. I'm thankful for all of our listeners and our fans. So love.
Yeah, all of that.
Right.
Ditto.
I mean, we're recording on a different night than we usually do. And tonight, before coming here, I was in therapy. And one of the things that I kind of was joking with my therapist about was that I was going to go see my other therapists after. Because that's what it feels like sometimes. And actually, she's listened to a couple of the episodes and it's like, yeah, I agree. So,
oh my gosh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so I'm thankful for you guys. Hell yeah, I'm thankful for you guys. I am thankful for Black Twitter. I am thankful for the
my
few
God.
Black people I know in real life. That number is growing slowly as they figure out that, there are other Black people in Seattle. We find each other. Hey, anyone out there, if you are in Seattle, hey, hi. I would love more Black friends.
That person. Like you see other Black, I'm sure MJ knows, you see other Black people here in Walnut Creek. Some of them are like, oh my God, you, and they wave.
Oh,
Others
no,
are like,
I am not that person.
I don't know you.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know you. I don't have to know you.
It's like when bikers pass each other and they do the low five thing when they're passing each other.
Yes.
That's gross.
We need to do
White
that.
people.
I can't stand when I see somebody and I do the smile. I mean, now it's kind of
Right?
it's hard to
Yes.
have a mask
So
on.
socialized in us.
Yeah, so now I just kind of nod, or do the what's up. And if I don't get it back, I will. I mean, I may not say it out loud, but I may be like, "Yo, stung," like
I
Mumble
before
a
the
bit.
masks, I got in the habit of kind of doing that, like that tight-lipped nod, as you pass by people. So, and now I don't have to do that stupid face. So it's like you got the mask on, you're just like, "Yep, hi, there you are."
what's up? Hey,
You
what's up?
don't know that I'm not smiling. Hey, what's up? You don't know that I hate you guys, right?
I will say this. I am definitely one where I never used to go out without makeup or something. Like, I don't care if it was powder. I don't care if it was primer, something. Now I'm kind of like, you can't see half my face anyway. And if I have sunglasses on, it's a wrap. So now I'm kind of like, I'll run to the store with my mask on, put my sunglasses on, and I'm good. That is one thing. But the older that you get, having that mask on is not the best for our skin either. Something I'm noticing
Yeah,
as well.
I
starting to
definitely have to change my my routine because that was definitely. I've been complaining about it to Dean. I'm like, why is my face breaking out only right here?
Right here for me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right, right along the edge. Yeah. Fuck.
Not cute.
Gross.
Not cute at all. Not cute. I'm looking for like new
I am
skincare.
almost 42. I do not need that shit.
Girl, that's what I feel like.
Y'all leave the house? Wow.
Oh no, barely. I mean, I feel like I should have gone into, okay, let me say this differently. I feel like I should have gone into the building I work in, not going into work, but to go into the building this week because, it's been, I don't know, a month and I have stuff that I really need to get out to students, but just the act of getting fully dressed and running a comb through my hair and finding a mask and walking because I have to walk to work and it's just like it used to be that I would wake up and within 20 minutes I was on my way to work and I was excited and that walk was great. And now I'm like, I pass by people. I have to go by that apartment building. I have to walk over the freeway. Like everything is just so much harder now.
Yeah, it dawned on me last night. I was like, oh shit, I have a couple of the things that I need for dinner tomorrow because it's just going to be me, hubby, and the boys. We're staying our asses at home. The numbers are crazy, especially in Sacramento and in about 7 of the zip codes that pretty much cover like the southern part of Sacramento into like Midtown Sacramento is where the hot spots are. And of course, one of my zip codes in there. So I'm just like, we don't need to go anywhere. Like I ordered, I'm so thankful for delivery of Walmart today because I couldn't go do my normal order and go pick it up because they didn't have any times to do that. So I paid a little extra, but I got my food delivered in like an hour and 15 minutes. So I was like, ooh, didn't have to leave the house. I think there's one thing I need, and that's like lemon juice, but I'm like, I can literally go across the street to 7-Eleven and grab that if I really needed to. But other than that, are you guys considering taking the vaccine?
Okay. So I actually was just talking about this with my therapist, and where I am right now with my mental health, the only thing that's really holding me together and keeping me going is the idea that this is going to help end it. And so I believe in Dr. Anthony Fauci, and I believe that if he will take it, I will take it. If he thinks that it's safe, I will consider it safe, and I will do it. That's and I'm fully aware and very scared about everything having to do with it. Trust me, but it is literally, that one bright shiny thing that's keeping me.
Yeah.
Why would black folks ever have any questions about vaccines?
Yeah, talked about that too.
That's weird. I don't know.
Talked about that too.
You know,
I've been talking about that a lot actually with people. Well, why does that bother you? Really? Can we talk about the whole history of vaccinations and gynecology and everything built on black people? Oh, you know what? There I am talking again about that.
Yeah, but it's legit. Like, if somebody ever asks that, it's like, well, read a book.
Yeah.
Google black people and vaccinations. I don't know what you need to do to be able to find
fucking Netflix has a couple of good,
Tuskegee Airmen.
Hell yeah. The Tuskegee experiment. Is more
or even just 2020, like pregnancy mortality rates for black women are out of this world. Are you kidding me? No.
I can't believe that. Like, I don't know, if this is, I know what it is. I haven't ever had to be in that situation where maybe my prenatal care isn't the best or whatever. I mean, I will tell you, I got pregnant at 19 and the first thing my dad did was go and take me off his insurance, or so he thought. At that time, it took a very long time and you weren't really able to take kids off of anybody that was under a certain age off of your insurance, without showing that they had other insurance to cover. Mm-hmm. Well, at the time he thought he did it. So I went and got on Medi-Cal and basically I had double coverage through Kaiser, which was great. Like I had the coverage through him and I had that. So I ended up having a pretty good birthday experience and things like that, just to say. But so at the times in my life which was only with my first son, that I probably would have been in a situation where money or, medical care would have been lacking. I was blessed, by my dad's fault or whatever it was. But I feel like in 2020, how is there that big of a discrepancy, or how is it that big of an epidemic, that the rates, or that there's even like death in childbirth at this point. I feel like we've come so far that
those
other
are
than preconceived.
I think those are two different things. So I think, so there is, for women in general and black women in particular, a long history of the medical whatever not paying attention and not believing like levels of pain and shit. So I fully believe that I could be like, when I went in for my appendectomy, my emergency appendectomy, the doctor was so fucking rude to me. And basically it was like, well, you probably just have an ovarian cyst. It's not that big a deal, and like basically making me think that the pain that I was actually acknowledging wasn't as bad as I was acknowledging. And like what she didn't know is that I'm a chronic pain liver, and my 7 means I'm in an emergency situation. Because if I get to a 7, I'm actually admitting that I don't have control over that pain anymore. And that does not happen.
And I definitely understand from like you telling that story, because my mother lived for about 5 years needing a full hysterectomy. And every time she went to the doctors, they told her the pain was in her head. The pain was in her head. The pain was in her head. And then ended up finding out she went to a black male doctor who said, no, you are like just full of fibroids and, scar tissue and this and that and everything. So at the age of 35, she had a full hysterectomy. So I understand when there's like negligence or when they, are not believing you. I guess my question was, it's hard for me to believe that is able to happen in 2020 when there should be so many checks and balances within our medical system.
There's like recent studies. I'll have to find this. There was a recent study in medical schools, and it was like across the board, people like rated their what the people the doctors that would see them in this medical school, the people of color routinely rated lower than average, and white people above average at the same places. Like it's systemic. I'll have to find it.
I will say I was sick for a long time in New York State for about 2 years, really sick, having cramps, debilitating, just sitting on the floor in my cubicle in the office because I couldn't move. I couldn't drive myself home. I couldn't walk to my car. They just kept telling me, it's just IBS. It's no big deal. I moved out to California. First time it happened, went to the doctor. And right away, the man said to me, I did not need you to come in here. I can look at your family history and tell you are high risk for colon cancer. You need to have a colonoscopy stat. They found the polyps. They took them out, all this shit. But what he did say to me, which always stuck, because it is, even though we do mention Black women in particular, the United States in general has a higher mortality rate for pregnancy than I think most first world, quote unquote, countries. But he said there has been a change in medical school. And this is according to my doctor. I don't really know. He said medical students today are trained to treat symptoms, whereas doctors back in the day were trained to treat root cause
and people.
Issues, diseases.
And to get to know the people.
So they don't really want to know what's wrong with Tiara. They would just want to say, "Oh, she's feeling some pain in her abdomen. Give her some Pepto-Bismol."
It was more, and this doctor was very clear that she didn't like that I was fat either. That was fun.
Oh, so. My sister told me that too. She said to the degree that they're rude about it.
Oh yeah. Like one of the clearest memories I have of being in that hospital room is the doctor very sarcastically asking where my belly button was when I was basically doubled over in pain.
What in the fuck?
Right. Yeah. And granted, I am a lot smaller than I was then, but even at that weight, that was like the weight that I used to play roller derby at. Like I was way more healthy than I am now at a skinnier size.
Wow.
So yeah,
he'd have to pay what he owed. I'm sorry. I may not be able to get to you now, but give me a couple of months, sir.
Right? I'm dumbfounded that people have that experience where you're supposed to be able to go and feel secure in being who you are and being accountable with somebody else who goes, "Hey, let's just get to the meat and potatoes of what's going on and let's work it through together." Like a practitioner, that's what a doctor is supposed to be. And a practitioner involves so much more than just getting in and making you feel like freaking shit. And then, prescribing hella different drugs and things that are going to give you side effects. And then like another ailment. We've talked about it before. You listen to any of these damn commercials for any of these drugs on commercial, now, and it's like, death. And it's like, well, of course, that's the worst thing that's going to happen after you just listed 150 other side effects that can help me to grow longer eyelashes, So it's, wow, that.
Yeah, I just sent
may cause leg whistles and armpit fungus. And
I just sent a link to our group chat, but I'm also going to have Dean include it in the show notes about it's an article that came out in September. It's a good article. I remembered it, so that's why I'm sharing that particular one. But they talk about a bunch of different studies in there. It even references the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. So there's some good information in that.
Well, maybe this is why how we're having a big push to have Black banks.
Yes.
I think maybe the next step would be having Black hospitals.
Hell yes. I saw an ad for there was a Black bank on CNN talking about a bank for our people and like helping small businesses. And I'm like, this is fucking national
Greenwood?
TV. That was fucking beautiful.
Is it Greenwood?
I didn't catch which bank it was because it was like the news and I wasn't.
God, that makes me nervous. It makes me think about Tulsa.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they're naming it that. They're saying, let's take it back. And Killer Mike is the one who I was telling you guys about it a couple weeks ago. He's the one that's the creator and the founder. And you know what? His partner was the owner of what's the channel you like, babe? Bounce. He created Bounce and TV One. He has something to do with TV One now. But he's very well off, an investor, and they raised $300 million. In a very short amount of time.
This is out in North Carolina or something, right?
They started it. Killer Mike is in Atlanta. Okay. So they started out in Atlanta. And so it's an online bank. And
okay, so
I'm on the waiting list for it right now. It's crazy. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was confusing that with the group that bought land for Black people to be able to create their own city. See, all these little stories that I read during the week, and then I need to find it.
Yeah, so the Greenwood, hubby just pulled up the website. It's Modern Banking for the Culture, a digital mobile banking experience made for Black and Latinx customers. And it's definitely going to focus on helping small businesses and getting, Black people just financially stable and understanding investments and, paying it forward and all this good stuff. And I'm on the wait list. I'm like number 30,000 something. But as soon as they tell me I can open that bad boy up, I will.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick, to clarify what I was just saying, I was wrong about the where. It was also in Georgia. 19 families bought 97 acres of land to build a Black safe city.
Yep. Yeah,
Fuck.
I did hear about that.
Yeah.
Right after the election. I remember somebody was talking about it. Yeah. That's awesome. And so Aaron Magruder was supposed to be coming out with another show with Amazon. And it was going to be based upon right after the Civil War. And basically it was going to be where Black America, a certain part of America, was going to be for Black people only. And it was going to be our shit. So it was going to be like the southern states. And it was going to be modern day, but what it was going to be like
if that had happened.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know what happened to it, because they talk about it about
like if Tulsa had survived.
Yeah.
What was that United Shades of America where he went over to, it was South Carolina, where all the Black people lived who had been there for basically forever almost. And they had their own, it's escaping me now. I'll have to find that. I'll look that up and I'll put it in the show notes, because that was really awesome as well.
United Shades fans, anyone out there, if you have not watched United Shades of America, do it now. Do it.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Debbie Kamau Bell.
So it was called Black America, and it was Will Packer and Aaron Magruder. And this came out in August of 2017 when this was supposed to be happening. So I don't know what's happened, but it was going to be an alt history drama. And it was, they envisioned post-reparations America. So what it was is that Black people received a certain part of America as our reparations. So I'll send it actually in the group chat too, so you guys want to read it, and then if you want to put it in. But this would have been really freaking like, I want to know what's happening with this, but just to think of like, what if this would have really happened? What if this was modern day?
I wonder if the storyline from The Watchmen that they did the TV show on recently, I wonder when, like, if that influenced each other, or if that was around the same time when the comic came out originally.
Could have been, because Regina King, has to do with The Watchmen, so maybe it could have. It could definitely. Like, that's interesting. So that made me think about it.
So it was the Gullah Geechee people.
That's right. They had their own, basically had their own little language and culture, and it was beautiful.
I think that's pretty awesome. Like Akon is starting his own city in Africa somewhere.
I don't know.
Is that where that dude came from?
Who?
The rapper who you can't understand.
Which one?
Yeah.
Is that Lil Pump or Little Spice Nugget or
the dude?
Remember him in the same city, and they're from like North Carolina or something like that. And they're like, "This is just how we talk." But it's that. What's his name?
Oh God, I know who you're talking about, because he's completely dropped off. Panda. Yes, we sound so old right now. I can see him.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So,
if I sang the song, you might be like, "Oh, I've heard a little bit of it." Designer. Yeah, it was a song a few years ago, and it was like panda, and that's all you can understand of what he said in the song. So anywho, he could have been from there. That could have been, but that's very interesting. Shouts out to those individuals. I think that if they can make it work. And there's some other families, like we can start having, these little cities all over, and they'd be real scared then.
I just picture Donald Trump as an out of shape Gaston, where he's like, you can't let women read. They start getting ideas. You can't let Black people dream.
Right. So yeah, other than, that's the other thing. I mean, good Lord, this man is cutting into his 60 days with his pouting. And as Jimmy Kimmel calls it, his squatter gate. I think this is what, day 21 or day 22 that
well, that
day 2.
22.
Yeah,
and with that is one thing in current events that we can talk about too, is that the GSA finally certified that Biden is the apparent winner. She won't call him president-elect.
Yes.
Ascertained as the apparent winner. So fucking like I don't know, like there are so many people that are actively like campaigning for jobs at whatever Trump does next that it's just so fucking sad to me. Like we know if he doesn't go to prison for a very long time, there is going to be fucking Trump TV and Trump newspaper, and 70 fucking million people are going to pay attention to him and only him.
Well, isn't that what he was going for when he ran for president? He didn't think that he was going to get it, so he was trying to get a Trump news station or whatever. I mean, fine, go ahead, Tommy Loren, and all you other freaking idiots, go ahead, y'all go be idiots, spout out this idiot, rhetoric, because there's so many more people now that know that well, there's so many that don't or don't want to admit it, but there's so many more that realize that it's a crock of shit and what he did to our country for 4 years, that I think it would be very difficult for them to take over and be this big news mogul like he expects to. First of all, you don't have any money. I could probably start a news station before he does. I probably have more money than he does right now, but
I mean, he keeps getting his supporters to send him money right now.
Right. Like, idiots.
Although, can I just like for a second just glory in the notion that all of those millions of people that went over to Parler already have gotten their information stolen from them? Like, it already got hacked because they were fucking idiots and tied social security numbers in with getting access to part of the site. Hello, fucking fraud. Can anyone smell this?
Yeah. Like you guys most people don't have the idea or the grasp of the dark net.
Or even like a gray net.
Yeah. So you guys are your shit is fishing around the dark net right now. People are getting brand new cars. There's going to be some people in Maseratis. There's going to be a whole lot of shit on you and they're going to wonder what happened. And they're going to blame it somehow on Biden somehow.
Well, of course. But what it's getting. Yeah, Obama. Everything is Obama's fault. Everything.
Yes. Speaking of the greatest president, I think. Did you guys happen to see his interview on Jimmy Kimmel?
No.
Oh my gosh. To watch it. It is the best 25 minutes. It's so good.
He also interviewed with, I don't know if it was on CNN, I want to say, but it might not be. I don't know. Did watch that. And it definitely made me nostalgic. But I also kind of feel like, I don't know. Now I'm going to get depressed again.
No, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. He has some funny stories. I think it's very funny that the video is titled that he's afraid of Sasha. And so Kimmel brings that up and he goes, oh, yeah. Like he got so serious, but he was joking. He's like, oh, yeah. Well, she reminds me a lot of Michelle and I'm afraid of Michelle. So I am afraid of Michelle and Sasha. It is just so funny to see like just an inkling into, just a fly on the wall in their household. He's the one that's made fun of, completely. He thinks he's cool. They basically let him know you're not.
As they should. They're children. Children are supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah, they said, they haven't read his book. They're like, we'll get around to it. I'm like, they don't want to read your book. You know what I'm saying? They were there. They don't care. But I think it's so cute. Yeah. But I just think it's so cute. I'm excited to read his book. I haven't been this excited to read a book that was by a political figure ever, I don't think. I still have yet to read Michelle's book, but I think I want to read his book before. I mean, his book is 700 and something pages. And he really just gives you the behind the scenes of what he can, of course, about his decision making and his presidency and his life during that time. And so I think it'll be really cool to read and refreshing after the 4 years we've had with, the reality TV president that we've had. So I think it'll be nice. So yeah, but definitely watch that, guys. That's my recommendation for the week.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Yeah, anything else that you want to talk about before we dive into this episode?
I wanted to say...
Oh, yes, please.
...that I was thankful we have, as of today, hit 500 total downloads.
So cool.
I would also like to thank again Justin from the Smokin' Reggie's podcast for coming on last week with us, because that was a heck of a lot of fun. And what I'd like to, and we can cut this out if you want, but if I was thinking that he would be a good guest host if anybody was out.
Oh, since I'm going to be out of town in a couple of weeks, is
that
what you're thinking?
If you're out of town, he could
instead of trying to record from Portland on my phone.
Exactly. So I mean, instead of putting off things, it's just it was Well, anyway, it was something I thought, and but I wanted to bring it up to you, and I haven't asked him about it yet, but of course I would ask you first. So before I even.
That'd be cool with me, especially because he is such a fan, and I think he really appreciates the commentary.
And he's brilliant.
Yeah. Really cool guy. So I'm completely down. I'm good.
And I know gender is bullshit, but I do think the show, since it centers so much around granddad, Riley, Huey, like it is good to have, not that you don't count Dean because you do, but it is good to have that voice of like a younger black man here on the show.
My knowledge is any knowledge I have is super new. So I have not been raised in any way, shape, or form in the black community.
He's been doing a good job of waking up on his own.
I've been raised very white. So
listen, a lot of people who I know who've been in the military told me major growth happens in the military.
I will agree with that. And I was telling you earlier, that was definitely my first culture shock. So, you're correct. Yeah. So, also a thing of thanks. Dianne Feinstein will be stepping down as top Democrat on the Judiciary Committee, and also fuck you to Trump, because Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Nevada have all been certified. So
all certified, homie. All certified.
Damn.
Okay,
all right.
Now on with the show.
Hey, so also we should absolutely talk about the fact that we are talking about the show that makes fun of soul food on the week of soul food. Can we just do that?
True.
Can we just?
Very true.
I am so excited. I'm here for this.
It happened, like this kind of came at the right time, because the itis is something that is going to be said tomorrow,
right?
So many times, and Friday and Saturday until the leftovers are gone. So I thought today, I was like, damn, this is actually perfect. Like, look at the universe.
Right.
Put us right in.
That's exactly. I was like, it's almost like you planned it, but then it wasn't, because we ended up having a week off unexpectedly, which made this happen. So it's perfect. But you guys, there's a lot of people that will be falling asleep at the table, like poor Jasmine. This episode, head first, just Daddy,
boom.
I don't feel good. That's me.
Oh, baby girl, it's just the itis.
Hey, that's not good.
Oh my God. Is that the first time you've done Granddad on the air?
Probably. I try to do Granddad. I think I do him okay.
Yeah.
I try to do Uncle Ruckus every now and again, but he's
creeps me out when you do that one though.
Uncle Ruku.
He could be a voice actor.
Yeah, he's like a combination of like somebody that smoked like Winston 100s and then but is drunk, and then like there's a mixture. There's just a phlegm. There's a whole bunch going on there. But yeah, no, that was a good one though. I like that. You could do it more often. You just throw it in there. That was good. But yeah, so
you ever try whooping his ass? I think that's my favorite one from him.
He says that all the time to me when I'm like talking about work. No, Dean, I've never thought about that.
Hey, some people need their ass whooped. Some do. No.
I'm taking no comment on that.
Right?
All right. On with
Okay, he's making me crack up. All right.
This is so funny. So hubby was trying to get me to remember what fast food restaurant came out with a sandwich similar to the Itis burger.
Yeah. There was KFC?
KFC double down.
That's what it was.
Right. Was it between the Krispy Kremes too?
I don't know if it was the donuts, but I know it was like
because that's the thing I remember.
Chicken breasts with more chicken in the middle and cheese and all this bullshit. I don't know about the donuts though.
But I do know that there are.
Oh
like in
my
Vegas,
God!
there are a couple
It
of,
really,
like,
it really is the Luther Burger.
It's at the restaurant.
I
This really exists.
yeah, that's what we
I
said.
mean, the Luther Burger exists. I don't know from the where it came from, but holy crap, it's
Has it?
between 3,000 and 6,000 calories.
Oh my gosh! Like, don't eat ever again. Like, you eat that and literally don't eat. Like, at least for a week.
Origins.
That is
Here we
ridiculous.
go. Yeah, it really did. According to legend, the burger was named for and was a favorite of and possible invention of singer-songwriter and record producer Luther Vandross.
Oh, Lord.
Wow. I could see it. Never too much, never too much. That's what that,
I mean,
about, huh?
he got big at one point. That is for sure.
Well, you know, Black people used to say Big Luther, Little Luther. Like, that was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, which Luther do you want? Big Luther, Little Luther. Yeah, they have it right now in, well, not right now because every restaurant in LA is shut down. But Randy's Donuts has a version of it. What you say? Afghani's.
This is actually
So there's actual
shows where they
yeah.
talk about this.
So he's like, "Come on, miss." I make him watch travel shows and travel and eating shows. And that's what he remembers it from. So there are 3 restaurants in LA right now that have their version of this. Whether they call it the Luther or give, the Boondocks their shout outs. Krispy Kreme burger.
It was a fair.
Oh, the fair had it. Well, that's a good place to always find very healthy food at the fair. So, oh my God, you guys, this looks crazy. And the patty is like burnt to a crisp. It is so dark.
Ugh. Okay. Anyway. Luther, I just started going down a rabbit hole, so I need to stop because it was taking me somewhere other than what we're talking about. Yay, ADHD and weed.
We all have it because we're all doing us. So we're all.
I don't even know if y'all were talking for a minute there because I was like, holy shit, what am I doing?
We're all looking. See the internet. Look what it does to you. Look what it does.
Man.
But so yeah, what I wanted to ask, what are you guys all having for Thanksgiving? And will any of your food be inducing the itis? Will any of you be having dinner on a bed?
I mean, I will definitely be having dinner on a bed because that's kind of where I eat most of the time right now, where I live.
Yeah.
Sometimes I make it to the couch, but not always. And my beautiful, lovely, wonderful husband is actually making my favorite winter meal tomorrow. Big old roast and potatoes, slow cooked all day long, so I can just smell it and my mouth will water all day. It's gonna be wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you go in the kitchen and you like look and you
just lift it for a second and you're like, oh, I'm so hungry now. Yeah, that's gonna be me.
That sounds good. I haven't had a roast in a while. That's really good. Lindsay, what about you?
We're doing Italian Thanksgiving, and my husband is stoked because Thanksgiving is always spent with my family since his family's in Italy, which, that means soul food.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of bummed, but he's like, yes. Oh, we're going to have white lasagna and which is fucking macaroni and cheese. But I'm going to get into that later. And he's like, we're going to have white lasagna and all this other bullshit. I don't eat it, but.
You have my husband cracking up right now. He just laughed the hardest I've seen him laugh all day.
Because I'm going to get into that later, man. I'm telling you, man, it's a bunch of bullshit. But what about you? What are you guys doing, you and hubby?
Oh, we have a tomahawk steak. I bought him 2. I took it out already. He just jumped up to go take it out of the freezer. I was like, I took it out. I bought him at Father's Day. I bought him these 3.5 pound tomahawk steaks. Wagyu, really, yeah. Wow. And he's made sure we did one during the summer when we camped, and he's like, we are saving the other one because it was not cheap. I had to try to run to the check stand before he got there, before she rang it up. And as soon as he walked up, she's like, $67, and he's all for 2 for 6. I was like, it's gonna be so good. But yeah, so we're finally busting that out. He makes yams because I don't eat yams. I can make them, but I don't eat them. So
yeah, not a fan.
Yeah, I don't do them. The good old baked macaroni and cheese. He's giving me thumbs down.
Wait, about the macaroni and cheese or about the yams?
Yams.
Yeah. My dad would too. My dad was so mad that I never got into any form of sweet potato squash or like any of that. I can't do it. It's a texture thing for me. It just potatoes have to be cooked a certain way.
I'm gonna put in the chat a YouTube video from Letterkenny about about cooking steak.
Girl marks, bud.
Girl marks, bud.
Okay. So macaroni and cheese. Oh, carrot. This is one of my favorites from when I was younger. Carrot, raisin, and pineapple salad.
No.
Yeah, I never had it.
So good. Oh my God, it's so good. It's like sweet. It's kind of like, it's so good. When we all meet, the first thing I'm going to do is be like, eat this.
Okay? Oh my God. And I'm going to be like Riley in this episode. I know you're trying to kill me.
It's like, it's really good though. So bad. It's really good.
I believe you.
When we post this, I would love some of our listeners to let me know if they have ever eaten it and how good it is. It's really good.
I mean, I'm a weirdo that likes to put Red Hots in my devil's food cake. So
I like that though. That's sweet and
really good.
That's good.
It's really good.
I like to put hot tamales and popcorn, but that's different. So
okay.
Green salad as well, because I know my husband and my other son, they're not going to eat the carrot salad.
I would eat the carrots out of the salad.
I've had the carrots. And what else? My son, my youngest one, wants to make a meal. So he's making Parmesan herb dinner rolls.
Ooh, that sounds lovely.
I'll take two.
I know, he's so excited about it. He's like, Mom, do you have all my ingredients? I was like, I got you. And then dressing. But me and my son are the only ones that eat dressing. Damn it, I didn't get any cranberry sauce. So dressing. Oh, you need cranberry sauce for I forgot. For your mac and cheese too, I forgot. We can go to Big Lots. Sorry, we're thinking like, what store will be open tomorrow? Because I totally forgot cranberries. But yeah, so I will have the itis. And I'm making salmon too, because I'm not a huge beef eater. So I'm going to try to leave more of his steak to him.
Yes.
I'm being so inappropriate right now.
Well, I love salmon. I eat salmon a lot. He hates it so much.
No.
Like my mom and I, like salmon growing up was, again, born and raised in Seattle. So it was really easy to get salmon.
Yeah, it's probably the best.
Oh my God. Yeah. Hell yeah. But anyway, Christmas morning would always be this giant salmon that we would like cook, and it was absolutely delicious. And it's one of my favorite things on holidays. But I know that since probably I'm going to be spending the next few holidays still in this house, I'm not going to be getting it. And I know my mom listens to this. So Mom, it's like the one thing you taught me when I was a kid that I still cook today when he's not around.
Yeah. I got some salmon, a nice little, paid a little extra for a couple good pieces. Because whenever I cook something, it's like my 9-year-old all of a sudden wants to eat like me. So I had to get a piece because I know he's going to want some too. But yeah, so that's it. And I'm so happy. I'm going to do it in my pajamas.
Mm-hmm.
I am not put on a lick of makeup. I'll probably start drinking while I'm cooking in the morning. And it's going to be the best Thanksgiving. It's going to be perfect. So
good.
Yeah.
I'm really like the one thing that I'm looking forward to tomorrow is and yes, I'm going to be video chatting with my mom, who I love very much, and hopefully my half sister Cheryl, if we can get the timing right. And my dad, who I just taught how to use a video on his phone.
That's so interesting.
I haven't seen my dad in months, and like when he popped up on the thing, I'm like, oh my God, your beard looks like your Black Santa. Like he's got this giant beard now. Anyway, so I'm, that'll be nice, but I'm gonna be video chatting with my sister's kids and her best friend and her family, and some more friends of that family, and this is. It's been a year since they died, or since she died, and they are, they're in Trump country, so it's been a lot of, they need people. They need to remember that people care about them and their well-being, and it's not just about, being right. So I'm really looking forward to that. We talked a few weeks ago, but I mean, they're 20 and 15. So, yeah.
It will be interesting. I love to hear, just the kind of insight of, people that are much younger right now. And how they feel about where we're going,
I mean, those two lost their dad 10 years ago and lost their mom last year. So like they're both ancient. They're not 20 and 15. Like, they're
yeah.
Like
much older for their much wiser and experience. Having to deal with things.
I mean, trying to convince the 20-year-old that it's okay that he can't take care of his brother by himself. And it's okay that he right now has to depend on his dad's parents, his dad's family. And it's okay that right now is hard because it will get better. And, that's really like, these kids have been through a lot of shit in their life.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I think I'm probably going to, once the younger one turns 16, I might try to advocate for him to, I don't know, what do you call it? Divorce his parents, divorce the people who adopted him.
Oh gosh. Yeah, emancipation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
a couple people who did that in high school.
Yeah. I think that staying up there is not good for their health, but I don't have the right to anything at the moment because we all signed paperwork saying that they would go there. And so, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I hope that turns out good. And, I think a lot of people are zooming.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like better for some relationships and families that they zoom this time and not actually with each other. So,
absolutely.
I'd much rather do a 30-minute Zoom and maybe play some games or say what we're thankful for and then get to maybe drinking again or something. I don't know, whatever.
I didn't know my family had family secrets until I got drunk and started spilling them.
Girl, I mean, that's kind of my mom. Believe me, half the shit that I know about like her was not told to me on purpose.
Stuff never is. It always comes out. My mom doesn't listen to this, so I'll okay with saying this. But I remember my mom just slipping up and telling me, "Yeah, do you remember like when I was like putting meth in my orange juice?" And I was like, "What? What?" What? She's like, "Oh yeah, everybody was doing it. Like it was like it had just come out and it was in powder form." And I was like, "What?" I thought only David Silver was the only person I ever knew that had put meth in orange juice.
90210 reference for the rest of you.
Brings a whole new meaning to juice.
Hey, that was a pretty popular way to ingest it around here when I first heard about it because that was something that I knew a couple people did. Yeah. No, my mom's the kind of person that at like Christmas dinner back when I was like single and living in an apartment, and it was me and my roommate and the person he was dating, and my mom starts talking about her firstborn.
Oh.
Exactly. That was my reaction. Which is why I say my half sister. Remember when I said my half sister Cheryl? That was who I was referring to.
Yes. Oh wow. And how old were you?
Oh God. I see. It was before I bought this house, so that would have been probably. Well, we found Cheryl after I met Dean. Yeah, that was the first time I met your parents. So it was probably like 3 years before that. So maybe 15, 16 years ago.
Wow.
She told me that.
You were full of grown.
Yeah. I was a grown. Like, like within the next year is when I bought this house. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Like, I love my mom to death. It runs in her family for this kind of shit to happen. Like, a few years ago in the middle of conversation, she'll be like, and then, like that time when I had cancer and like, well, huh? Those are the kind of conversations that I will have with my mother sometimes. So, it's.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it'll ever come up at dinner like that time that we were swingers or.
Probably. It probably will. You'll be like a great grandmother by then. You'll be like, hey, guess what I used to do?
Right? Hopefully it doesn't show up at dinner. Remember when you were swingers?
Yeah.
Your son.
That's true. Yeah, hubby just pointed out something good. Like it'd be more like, oh, that's what you guys call it, is poly? Like it'd be something like that, I guess. It would just come up like that. Yeah, but I guess that's what parents do. I guess, it's not, you don't just share everything, I guess. But that's interesting. It's the stuff that comes up. But yeah.
Well, it's the stuff that you don't realize.
I think you win for like surprising.
Well, in that case, like it's always kind of been that thing with me and my mom that she'll just forget that she hasn't told me. It like literally her reaction was like, I never told you about her. I'm like, when would you? I'm pretty sure I would remember that. Like,
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, right? Like I smoke, but not like that much.
Right. And I wasn't even really smoking pot at that time. That was when I was trying to be respectable or whatever bullshit. Fuck yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. That's again. We were on the show and then I'm kidding. So
well, shit, there was something God damn it, there was something that Lynxi said and I meant to write down because I totally remembered something in the show that reminded me of it. I hate it when that happens.
Was it about like me saying I didn't know we had secrets until I got drunk and spilled them? Much like Riley saying that peach cobbler and then Granddad being like, so you apologize right now, because that's what happened with me.
You say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
I felt bad. Like I know it's a cartoon, but I literally felt bad. I was like, oh, just try it. Just try it. Like you gotta try that.
My problem definitely was like, this kid has no fucking social skills here. Like he had no idea how like that was really hurting her. That was really hurt. Like she was gonna start crying. I would have started crying if that was happening.
I mean, he said it looked like throw up with peas in it. And like, what was it peas? It was peach cobbler.
Why are there peas in the peach cobbler?
Like what? So mean. Another confession, I don't like peach cobbler either.
I don't like anything cobbler.
Oh, I love peach cobbler and I love rhubarb cobbler.
No.
Oh my
God.
Yeah, great.
No, rhubarb is not.
Have it.
No.
As every black relative says, you just haven't had my peach cobbler.
Yes. Because that is what every black person says. Like what you gotta say about my mom, my grandma, my great grandma? They can cook, but like yours is gonna change my life. Yeah, right. No, I can't. I don't care if it's with ice cream. I don't care. Like I can't. Yeah, don't put it in front of me if you don't want me to hurt your feelings. Like Riley.
I fucking love it, man.
Oh man, I literally said at the point when Dean came back in the room when I was still watching it over and over again, I was like, Riley is one of my students. Like he's not being an asshole for the sake of being an asshole. Like he genuinely doesn't seem to understand why this is not appropriate to do when you have company over.
Yeah, he's speaking his truth. He doesn't see what the problem is with that.
Right.
Right. It's like I have a mind and an opinion too, and it kind of reminds me of my 9-year-old because my 9-year-old does that, and it's like, dude, we've taught you how to speak up for yourself, but you need to learn how to not do it to us. Mm-hmm. Like there's a difference. You do it to everybody. You don't do it to us, but he doesn't seem to get that. So, yeah, not as bad as Riley though, because my son would have a belt like with his name on it. Seriously. But yes. So I one thing that I did take from this episode and that I took from before was the kind of background of why Black people eat,
yes,
chitlins.
Actually, that is a great point. We have a clip about that.
Look at that.
Great. That was amazing.
I'm psychic. I don't know how to do that.
You want to keep playing around? Now you can wash the dishes.
Granddad, look what you've done to this community.
It's not that bad.
Not that bad. This place used to sit between a coffee shop and a day spa. Now there's a liquor store and a damn Foot Locker. This food is destructive.
This food is your culture.
Then the culture is destructive.
He's right, Senior Freeman. All African American slaves had to eat was the parts of the pigs the slave masters wouldn't eat. But that was a survival technique, I said. They didn't really have a choice. I don't think people are supposed to eat this stuff, or at least not so much. What? I can't take an Afro-American studies class at the community college.
I love that was added on in the end.
What? I can't take a
I mean,
want to know so too.
that the illegal Mexican Chico or Chico as what's his bucket would call him. Onceler, thank you. He literally like he and Huey, they were on the same level. He was like, man, he's telling the truth. Like, I'll cook it for you, but it's fucking gross and yeah, it'll kill you.
Yeah. It's so bad. That's why we made the decision. I had already pretty much stopped eating pork prior, but then my husband said, I think it's going to be a family thing. And he's like, I don't want to eat anything that is kind of like a bottom feeder. I know we've discussed this before, but we haven't eaten pork or any like a large amount of like shellfish, some seafood in years. And probably like 3, I think. Are you sure? 3 years only?
Or more.
Yeah, so I think it's about 4. I think it's 4 years. It's 4. So I understand why. And people ask us all the time, are you Muslim? What is this? And it's like, no, it's a choice on our health, but it's deeper than that because we have the choice to not eat the freaking throwaways nowadays. We have a choice to eat healthy. We have a choice not to be forced to eat chitlins, which I would never eat. I don't care if somebody had $5 million check right in front of me. That would not be in my bank account.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the health food versus not health food quite yet because this particular the clip that we just listened to, it was more about how that food, ignoring the origins of that food, and ignoring how bad that food is for somebody, is basically Grandpa's whole arc. This whole thing is him going, look at this awesome food. I'm going to eat all this food, make all this food. Well, we can't have regular vegetables. They have to be pork vegetables. I got to put the fish and bread it in pork, and I've got to get pork tongue, and I got to, all of that, because he's enthusiastic. And, at one point we find out that they started doing Sunday dinner because of the movie Soul Food, which honestly, I never watched, and I'm really glad I didn't.
You didn't?
I have not watched that one. And I'm having listened to the recap a few times now. I don't see any reason to want to watch that. I want to eat that because it's all about eating a food that makes me feel very uncomfortable.
Oh, it's a good movie. It's so much like they kind of dumbed it down to that.
Yeah, I know.
It's really more about.
It's about the family and yeah.
Yeah. And it's a commentary like on Black families and, the inner turmoil, I can't talk that goes on and how we kind of ignore certain things, within our culture as a whole. But then the soul food brings it together like, well, this is a time that we are a family. But overall, we are a family over the food. That's not the best for us. We're frying things. We are,
everything.
And then putting more, shit on top of it when you're putting like pads of butter on top and sugar and things like that. So, it's good. And that's why I think like the separation comes between Grandpa's generation and the rest of us. Like, yes, it tastes good, but then when you're 75, what is going to be happening to you?
Right. I think of those things like chitlins and the neck and the tongue. And like, I remember my grandmother making those things and literally saying, we do this because it's cheap. I can get a lot of it and feed a lot of you for it. So it wasn't just that, our culture brought it up as a survival thing. It was still a survival thing, like well into my lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
My grandmother had, I always have to think of the picture when I think of how many aunts and uncles I have. There are 8 altogether. So my grandmother had 8 children and 6 of them in a very short period of time. And then like one like far ahead and one far behind. And, that's for a family that lived with, a plot of dirt and a shack. And like there were chickens out back when I was growing up that I remember my grandmother going out to get ready and for dinner and stuff. And like that, again, that was in my lifetime. still. So like
Yeah.
I've always grown up thinking of like hooves and snouts and like all of that stuff. I think of my grandmother, and I think of the big giant pots on the stove of jambalaya, or in her words, whatchamacallit, where she would just put she would put whatever animal product she had left over into it, and like a couple of vegetables, and like cook it for like 2 days.
Yeah. Throw some rice and beans in there.
Right, exactly.
It goes far. Yeah, it's definitely out of necessity. It's out of need. It's out of you, of course, still wanting to be able to put food on the table for your family. And so many of our families come from siblings of 6, 8 or more, because my mom's from a family of 6 from Jackson, Mississippi, and that's where a lot of my family still is. So
Alexandria, Louisiana.
Yeah. So it is cultural in a way, because it's just completely intertwined with who we are and where you're from and kind of what your family history is. And like I just said, the makeup, how many people were there and all that, all that good stuff. I wonder 5, 10 years, 20 years in the future, is that still going to be something that we rely on because of the same need? Because the way that we're going now, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like we are just doing so great where everybody's above a poverty level or everybody's able to, go to a regular grocery store and buy just regular chicken versus buying chicken feet. Yeah. Whatever it may be. So I just wonder.
I think that what it really is going to depend on is whatever the next generation and what they do with what they've been taught. Like, from this episode, like what I'm seeing, I see Huey like trying to get the family to eat more healthy. And so like when it's grandpa's turn to cook Sunday dinner, it's all soul food, which is all all fried and like thick with batter and
pork,
lard and butter and Velveeta. And then like juxtaposed against when Huey is the one creating the food and everyone has all these vegetables on their plate, and not to mention the fact that they all had to run to the bathroom after instead of go to the sleep. Which I thought was hilarious. You don't eat vegetables, they gonna make you have the runs.
I wanted to stand up for soul food after watching this fucking episode. You guys, I hate this okie doke bullshit. Have you guys ever had, what is it, like a raclette? Or I think French people say raclette or whatever. It's all over social media right now where they show the giant thing of cheese, the giant wheel of cheese just melting, and the guy comes with the sword and cuts it onto the table. So there's that. What about foie gras? Do you guys love foie gras?
No.
Isn't that fucking fatty ass? Right, me either. I don't like that shit. But it's fatty ass duck liver. What about sweetbreads? Only the finest.
Yes, the brains. I know.
Yes. Like other cultures, haggis. What about haggis? Like other cultures do all the same bullshit, right? And people look up to it.
Don't fuck with the haggis.
See, like people look up to it as either like with Scottish people, I don't think they like say like haggis is refined or anything, but they look up to it as like this is our culture. And like with all this other French bullshit, like it's high fat, it's a lot of cheese, it's a lot of wine. Filipino people, I think, eat a lot of tripe, which my mom, when she was like other cultures do all this bullshit and we respect it and we look at it as refined food. Lobster was fucking prison food.
No, wait. Let's go back. Let's go back. A lot of cultures that we quote unquote look at as refined are white cultures.
That is my point.
Yes,
exactly.
Okay. Because I was like, I don't think that frog legs are high culture, but apparently some white people do.
Exactly. And, I think I could be totally wrong. I think people in like New Orleans, Louisiana, et cetera, also do frog legs and stuff.
There's a lot of, right. Everyone down there has a little French in them. So.
Right. Because one of the things that all those foods would cause that they ate over in Europe was gout, those high fatty foods, and that's why gout was called the disease of kings.
See, and there you go. Like people look at it, it's like it's refined. Do you even have the palate for this?
No.
Like people have this kind of vibe. Right. I'm not into this shit. And don't get me wrong, I'm not getting up here on this podcast and advocating for the unhealthy practices of soul food. I agree. We eat a lot of fat ass shit. It just is the way it is. It is comforting. It is delicious and this and that. I think the big thing, though, is portion control. Like I said, French people eat a diet that is high in fat, but they eat portions that are seriously 5 times smaller than the shit we eat.
Yeah.
True.
That's one thing that
You're right. There's a vegan chef out here that I was just looking at her. She was like, my holiday meals are sold out. And she was saying that she was getting ready to deliver them today. And I'm telling you, that plate, I was like, that looks like some damn good. It was macaroni and cheese, turkey, dressing. She had made some squash and something else. And I was like, that looks hella good. Now, would my husband think the same because it is vegan? So it's,
Dean's like shaking his head.
I could do it. Look at Dean.
I will try most things. I will try most things. I have a lot of vegan friends. I like some vegan food, but I don't like vegan cheese. I've never liked the consistency of vegan cheese. I have yet to find a vegan cheese that melts in a way that I'm okay with. And this is, I'm speaking strictly as an autistic person with some massive issues when it comes to the food that I eat. And it's all about texture. Like that's why I can't eat fatty foods. It's because of the texture of biting into that is just revolting to me. So
you don't like the fat on the steaks? Or
nope.
What me either.
Nope, my dogs like it though.
I don't either. My husband's like, well, there's so much flavor in there. And I'm like,
no. Like if I had my way, I would probably eat like chicken with no skin and pasta of some kind every night. Because it's, I can do that. I could change the flavor on that and then I wouldn't have any texture issues. Maybe some fresh vegetables because I don't like cooked ones.
Yeah.
See, and this is why Thanksgiving is so hard for my mother and why she should be thankful I'm not coming this year.
Easy on her.
Easy, right? You don't have the giant turkey because I'm the only one that eats the dark meat. So she's getting turkey breast for 2 for her and her roommate. And that's really about all that I eat on Thanksgiving. He'll eat all the stuff, but sometimes I have some ham. But yeah, I also can't eat gigantic meals anymore. Like my portion size is the size of my fist most meals.
Yeah.
Yes.
My portions are good. My portions are good. Well, yeah, so at least I know whenever we get together, if you guys come out to California, whatever it may be, I won't order a vegan meal for everybody.
Well, just don't tell Dean it's vegan. And you're probably
just
okay.
Get me some of that Santa Maria barbecue.
Santa Maria barbecue?
See, I'm all about
they make that tri-tip out there. Oh, so good.
I'm guessing you watched that on some travel show or something.
No, I know family X that was in that area.
Okay.
He's like, hey, we'll talk about it how I
know. You know those people. You know who they are.
Yes.
But I do want to drive that point home, like just to close it out, like just like how Dean said, right? The food of kings, like French people can do this shit, English people, Swedish people, and it's all good and it's fine dining. Mm-hmm. But yet when Black people prepare soul food, it's kind of, even by our own culture, it's given the side eye, like y'all, like even how in this episode, he was like, you guys aren't past this, kind of like, you got to get past this. Again, health of it, not great. Don't go crazy. You don't have to eat it every Sunday.
Yeah.
Or every day in case of this, TV show where all of these white people suddenly gained like 500 pounds in a month.
And they were like crack addicts.
Right. And even to that point, if you think about it, isn't that kind of Americans in general? Isn't that kind of our vibe? Like, give me whatever I want, when I want it, how much I want it. Yeah, I want to eat a sandwich that has 2 breaded chicken breasts for buns. That's what I want. Give it to me. That's what we do. So like, I don't know. Just don't take any shame in it. Don't side eye soul food. It is your fucking culture. And just because kings in the white perspective, so to speak, didn't eat it, kings from our kidnapped kings did eat it. How about that?
And did what they needed to do because they were not familiar with that at all. That's not where they came from. We came from, they saw an antelope, but they probably killed the antelope, ate the antelope fresh, or whatever else.
Right, yeah.
Fresh fruit and berries and whatever. And if they were close to the water, then seafood. That's not what they even I don't think they probably knew what a pig was, to be honest, right? Like maybe they have boars over there, maybe.
Yeah.
But to then be able to go, let's go ahead and make a meal out of it. That's one of the other things that was just so fantastic about Black people. We are damn resourceful when we need to be.
The other kind of main theme that was running through this episode was Wuncler's idea of how to devalue Woodcrest so he can buy the land that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And like full on play the thing.
I need to be thinking urban, more Negro, the Black thing. That's what's happening now with the kids.
Right? The Black thing. The Black thing. But in his mind, it's not because he wants a successful restaurant. He literally wants to devalue the park across the street so he can buy it. So, I mean, I know where I'm seeing this coming from, but I'm curious, what is it about having a soul food restaurant in a upper class neighborhood that is going to, why does he think it's going to ruin the neighborhood? Like, why does he think it's going to bring down values enough so that he can finally buy the land that he wants?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's the same joke I made when we moved out here in Walnut Creek. Like, people were probably like, damn, there goes the property value. Like, if you see one Black person, that means more are going to follow. Mm-hmm. We moved out here because we don't want to be near Black people. Time to move further out in California. Time to move more so towards Tracy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
and they are moving there in droves.
It didn't show in this episode that this restaurant was attracting Black people. Like, he specifically was aiming for the upper class white people that he really didn't like anyway. He didn't like any of them. Like, he full on said, I don't like you people, when it was the health food restaurant. And then he's like, get these ingrates, when they're not making money for me, I don't care about them anymore. Get them out of here. And so,
yeah.
But how did he know that?
On the bed.
Yeah.
Something that they call hydraulics.
Right?
Yeah.
Made by, what did he say? The Mexicans?
The Mexicans.
Like the Mexicans do?
Yeah. He doesn't, he sees dollar signs. He sees green in everybody, and that is the color of money. It has nothing to do with envy or anything, but that's what he sees no matter who you are.
But why does he think it's going to devalue the property?
I think because deep down he thinks that Black people screw up everything, and that, other people are so scared and deep into their fears about Black people that like that's the end result no matter what. Like, no matter what, it could be as successful as once, but something is going to fuck up. I mean, the way that he calls Grandpa free man says a lot.
Every time. He's always overpronounces that free man.
Yeah. And introduces
as if
him
you're
like
okay.
That.
You're an okay Black guy. You're like, what? You're the, what's the word? I can't even think of it. But yeah, like basically intimating that, this is the one Black guy that I'm okay with. Oh,
yeah,
hey, that actually brings up, because I almost said the thing that I bet Wuncler was saying in his head. The N-word was not used in this episode once. And it's the first episode that we've come. It's the only episode ever. It's the only episode in the series that does not have the N-word in it. So I find that interesting.
But my take on it was that it maybe like it's not being said, but at least I think this is what you're driving at, is kind of like same conversation we were just having about soul food, right? It hinges on these behaviors, right? Soul food is a Black thing. So if I bring this element of Black culture into this upper class neighborhood, it is going to take this neighborhood down to the level of how I see, not me, Wuncler, sees Black culture, or how people see soul food, which is unhealthy, dangerous, risque. Oh, we have like quote unquote food addicts, crackheads hanging out in the park across the street now. We have Foot Locker and a gun store here next to the restaurant now. So it's a way of still kind of devaluing the culture, so to speak.
So then he can come in and swoop in and make it, that nice, white, safe neighborhood again. Like, he could be the savior when he comes in and, buys the park. And so, yeah, definitely. It's like, it's all in that motion and that notion of like, Black is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's Black, it ain't right. So let's go ahead and do what we need to do. And I'm going to make some money off of it in the interim. But as soon as it's not a benefit to me anymore, then I can let it go. But then here I go. I'm just going to go ahead right across the street and turn this into probably like some high-rise apartments that no Black people will be able to afford. Yeah, so it's very much what gentrification, or what a lot of people will say gentrification is now.
It's funny that you said that, because Dean and I have been having this conversation over the last couple of days about if there was a term for, so this isn't the same thing as a Black family moves into a white neighborhood and thus it turns Black. It's more that a white person is intentionally using a Black person to devalue the white property. So it's not quite like he was saying it was reverse gentrification. Was
it was like they were, because it was all nice and white.
I feel like gentrification is about overwhelming and driving out the culture, where that's not what Winsler's doing. He's literally just trying to use a culture in order to devalue another, I guess.
Well, it was kind of like, it was very gentrified as it was.
Yes, I know.
And then he was like, I have to take this down. I have to de-gentrify this to re-gentrify it in the way I want to see it. That's kind of what I was thinking.
And I get that. I just don't think that de-gentrifying is the right term fits the right, because gentrification in itself does not fit with what's happening there, I guess.
I can see it. And this is the way that I guess I kind of look at it like that, is because there'll be neighborhoods that are just like riddled with crime, or maybe it's not riddled with crime. Okay. Maybe it is just certain areas of that area are riddled with crime, but the entire area will be, tapped as an area that is full of guns and drugs and whatever else. And when you really go back to it, so let me go back. Oak Park is an area out here in Sacramento that has that label. Oak Park is the oldest neighborhood in this area. And it is also one that used to be most flourishing and used to be full of Black businesses and Black homeowners. And it was like the Greenwood district of Sacramento. And a lot of that history is still there, but because certain parts of it, certain streets and certain areas would become riddled with crime, that whole area got tapped with that. That's my husband works at the high school there. So let me tell you, when I moved here, and when I got old enough to go out by myself and go out with my friends, you better not go to Oak Park. Oh, you are not allowed to go to a Sac High game. I was a cheerleader and my dad was like, you're not cheering. And I was like, I have to cheer. So luckily I got to, but only because when my high school went out there, we had police escorts to and from the game. Okay. I know people now that I meet as adults and we talk and I'm like, you at Sac High during this time? They're like, yeah, you were in Elk Grove. And they're not scary. The kids weren't scared. It just was that whole conversation that had been built around it. So what I think is happening is that they allowed that area to be pigeonholed as such a bad area for so long that it would provide the opportunity for people to come in and then start bringing in the businesses and flipping the houses to make it a better area, when overall it wasn't a bad area. You kind of get what I'm saying? So they do that by the label that they give it. And then they come in and they're these like supermen who come in and they change the whole area. But it's, no, what you guys did is you added like 4 or 5 restaurants. Maybe you added a new housing development that, everything's modern.
Or in the case of Seattle, you opened up a weed store in a predominantly Black neighborhood when there's no weed stores owned by Black people in the city of Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
And there's still people in jail in Seattle for drug charges, even though we decriminalized marijuana almost a decade ago, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
So it's gentrification by that point. Like, you allow certain things to happen, and they're the ones that have the power within the city. They're the council members, they're the mayors, they're the ones that have the control. So by you allowing that to happen, and then when there are some, improvements being made, then you guys kind of take credit for that, when it's not due to you. It's due to maybe who's moving in the neighborhood. It's due to the residents finally being like, well, you know what? I'm moving into my grandma's house and I'm going to, redo my grandma's house so that we have some equity in it. And I'm helping to make the community better. So that's just the kind of way. So I agree with Dean in that way. And that's the kind of way where I was looking at it, where I say it was kind of like gentrification or reverse in a way. But yeah, so I know, Lynxi, I'm sure that you see that like more in like Oakland area, anywhere outside of like Walnut Creek, really.
Oh,
you probably, you see that a lot.
I'm pretty ignorant to California, to be honest, but I know when the Black Lives Matter protests were going on here, that was the commentary I heard the most from other Black people was like, yo, we are not out here in Oakland burning stuff and tearing stuff down. Like that is the kind of younger, no shade to anyone, that is the younger white generation who's out here doing this. It is not us. Like, why would we tear down what we built? You know, was kind of the vibe in that. I know my hairstylist, like I told y'all, she has a chair out here in Walnut Creek in her shop in Oakland, but she's told me they are basically forcing all of the Black salons out of Oakland in the area she's in. Her owner let her stay because he sees her as a safe Black person, sedity or whatever. So he doesn't bug her. He's fine with her staying there. But the other braiders and hair weavers and hair salon stylists, et cetera, barbershops, they're pushing them out so that gentrification can move in. But even to the point here, I think I agree with everything you both said. I think it is also a commentary on like how Donald Trump, even though I think Donald Trump is a flat out racist, I'm sure he actually believes this. And I think a lot of other Republicans, white, Black, Mexican, whatever, also believe this, Asians, that they are not racist. They don't really give a fuck if you are Black or Spanish or anything. They don't give a fuck. They care about how much money you have. And so everyone who is below a certain income bracket, or people like me who end up at the top of corporate and put on their Twitter profile, all my niggas close to me, like there's a certain level of lowbrow people who just are lowbrow and that's it. It's not about your race. It's about your class. And so I think that's kind of a commentary going on here as well.
I like that. And, you know, it's kind of also a commentary on like equity and, you know, having investors help you. And it's some people might go, that's a far reach, but this is what I took from it.
I don't think so.
Where we are now. You know, you had this white investor come in and go, ooh, I love your idea. Let's help to make your idea like a mainstream and great. But what it really ended up becoming was that Pops was just an employee. He wasn't a business owner. He wasn't co-investors.
That was actually something. That was something I brought up after like the 5th or 6th time watching it. Like, did Granddad actually get anything out of this? Did he make any money? Did he get anything whatsoever other than maybe like 2 months of owning a restaurant?
Yeah, he didn't even get the vagina from the girl that was throwing it.
Right?
He didn't even get a hand. He didn't even get to spend time with that cutie pie. No, and then she became all cracked out and huge, and he did what that thing. So, but yeah, like it's definitely a commentary on what's happening now, and you see that a lot within the marijuana industry. You know, these equity programs are great, but don't get into an incubator. There's one particular company right now that they're being called to the carpet because all that they do is they say that they're equity, they get people in. And then these people are like, I basically just became another employee. Like, I'm growing this crazy strain, I'm doing this cultivation, and they're taking, you know, all this, the shine for it. And I'm just basically an employee. And that's not what I got into it for. So, you know, we're definitely seeing that. And that's why, you know, the idea of like that family or those group of families that went and bought that acreage and they're going to try to build their own sustainable. That's what we need to do. That's what those hairstylists need to do in Oakland. You know what I'm saying? They need to get together. Let's buy some property. You know, there's so many people that want their hair weaves and braided and everything else. Like, you guys will all have food to eat. You know, there'll be business for everybody. But I think if they can go into something collectively their own, be in their own building, be in their own property, and I have to deal with somebody going, oh, you're one of the good Sadidi Blacks, so I'm not worried about you. Or you're one of the ones that, you know, you get people in there selling, you know, rib plates. And so that makes you a little less, you know, desirable. Right. But those are things that we're going to have to do. And I think collaboration is huge. And what we need to do is stop turning the other cheek and turning away from opportunities that can bring our dreams to fruition. They may not come into fruition the way that you wanted, which meant you being your own business owner, but doing that collaboration can get you there. You know, things are going to take just a little bit longer for us. But like I said, we've always been resourceful. So let's be resourceful and, you know, in other ways. So, and, you know, but not by making a burger that is just completely ridiculous.
Oh, big and fat.
Yes.
I feel like that's a whole nother conversation we probably don't want to open up because of time. We were talking about this on the Trash Talking podcast last week, I think, about like exploitation of culture to get wealthy. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yes,
Like the exploitation of culture in this episode definitely was the white man taking advantage of the black man's culture in order to ruin a white neighborhood, which I actually find to be one of the most clever ways I've seen this happen in TV. Like, you don't see the white man screwing over the white people all the time to get what he wants. It just doesn't really happen that often. So, like, not to say that I'm excited that, hey, he didn't screw over just the black man this time, but, Granddad still considers Wentzler a friend, apparently, because Wentzler is still invited to Sunday dinner. And same with Ruckus. I find it very interesting who Granddad calls friends. So, anyway. Anything else anyone wants to add before we ask our white people question of the day?
Oh, one last thing I want to say about the beds. Now, I know the beds had to do with the fact that it caused the itis, but do you think that was another, sub at the culture, black people culture? Like
being laziness.
Yeah. So I kind of thought about that too, watching this episode. So I was just wondering if you guys, if you thought about that as well, or...
I did, but I also had to stop thinking about it because all I could think about was multiple people using the same pillow, one right after the other. And you didn't see them changing the sheets and shit. They were just spilling food. Oh, no, God. Oh, Jesus, fuck. Oh.
See, and you guys are West Coasters. When I was young, probably like 13, 14, that was a thing like older people did that you thought was cool, like all the bed clubs in New York City. I don't know if you guys did that out here, but that was a thing for a while. You'd go to the club and you would just hang out in a big bed and you drink champagne and you do all your club shit in a bed. I swear, I think even on Sex and the City, they did like a spoof of it. I swear, this was a thing in the 90s.
Oh my God.
Oh, in the 90s, I was a goth kid.
Oh yeah,
I had no idea about. I knew a couple friends who went to raves, but that was the best I.
Oh yeah, I went to raves. You know what?
Heavy metal concerts
with kids. Did you guys ever watch the movie Kids?
Oh yeah.
No, but I've heard of it.
Yeah. Oh, girl, you gotta watch it. Especially
I knew people like that. I knew people like that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Club kids. Yeah. RuPaul was like a club kid.
I want you to watch it. I want you to tell me, is that like indicative of what a Saturday night was like, or the summer?
I mean, I was too much of a baby. I just saw it on TV. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't have experienced it, but I just would be like, oh, that's so cool. I can't wait till I can do that. And it's like, girl, please. I was in Rochester, not New York.
I love the idea of I don't know. I would totally hang out on a bed with my friends all night with music I liked and drinking alcohol. That totally would happen.
Yeah.
But I would have to have the same bed the whole night. I could not just get up and walk around. I would have to.
I couldn't just rotate.
Right. This is where I'm sitting if you want to talk to me.
Yeah, because I would think about hair. So if I was here, I'd be like, oh, so just let alone of whether or not I was going to lay on it. Somebody's hair, I would freak out. So yeah, but that actually is a pretty hot idea. I like that idea.
And nowadays we see videos about clubs in New York that are getting broken up that are, mattresses on the ground sex clubs. In the middle of a pandemic, New York. God damn it.
Another episode once again.
And let's not forget, around 2010, 2015, whatever, we had a bed bug epidemic in New York State.
Jesus Christ.
No, we
I remember going to Vegas and being so spooked. I was like, because in Vegas, you get people from all over. So I was like, oh God, we're going to bring home bed bugs. Oh my God. And they don't change the top, the duvet, or they don't change any of that. That one throw,
you always take that top one off. Take that off.
Yeah,
take it off.
Always.
Yep. Don't do shit on that thing. That's gross.
Yeah. Yeah. And then my friend was telling me, she goes, well, do you know why they say never come in and immediately just get to the get down on the top, blanket? And I'm like, well, because everybody does that. And they're like,
exactly.
Yeah. That top comforter. That's gross. That's gross.
Okay. Now that I am sufficiently squeeged out for the day. I think back to how much time I spent in Las Vegas. I feel
That's
like
what everyone out here says.
Oh my God. I feel like I have my entire mindset. Like, I desperately want to hang out with my friends again. I want to go dancing again. But seriously, the idea of going to a place like Vegas scares the shit out of me now.
We were supposed to be going Friday.
Oh
for
my God.
For our cousin's 40th birthday. We were like, we'll go. It's cool. And we had decided this like before the, everything spiked again.
Mhm.
Right.
But as soon as hubby saw, Newsom talking last week and he said, hey, travel advisory, can't do it. He woke me up. I was taking a nap. He's like, no Vegas. I was like, wait, what? And then Vegas just got shut down. Vegas is on like 25% capacity in the casinos. There's no strip clubs. There's no like anything fun. So I was like, so we'd be going to Vegas to sit in the hotel room and then traveling because we'd be going at a time. None of the airlines are leaving the middle seats open.
Right.
They're booking the entire flights because it's their busiest time of year. So we would have been on there like,
Delta.
You said who?
Southwest and Delta still are, but only until after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then after Thanksgiving, they're going back to regular.
Oh, well, Allegiant was it, and we were going to go on Allegiant.
Oh, yeah, Legion and Spirit.
Spirit and shit like that, yeah.
Oh, fuck. I love Spirit. Most of the time, anyway. Right now.
Which after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so we're not going anyway. But yes, you're right. This wouldn't have been a good time to go. And yeah.
The biggest, like, I have a friend that before things started spiking again, we had planned on meeting in Portland in a couple of weeks. And right now it's like play it by ear because for me it's travel by train, and the way that Amtrak is doing everything, it's like everything's wide open. They're not selling seats next to each other unless you're in the same party, and they require masks and face shields, and like I feel comfortable with that. Like a plane feels like a sardine to me. Like I don't feel like with the train, with the open ports, air is going to be flowing constantly.
Yes. And you can wipe down your area and know that like that little wipe
and
down
never,
is good enough.
like, I won't take off my mask if I do this. Nothing's So like I feel like there are still ways to potentially do like little travel, but I'm super bummed because I want to go. I need to get out of my house so goddamn bad.
So I'll ask you this, and then we can get into the silly white people question. Do you on the train? Do you go up the coastline or down the coastline?
I've done both. I've done the coastline, and I've done the express from Seattle to Portland, and the coastline one is longer, but it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. I actually have given some thought to maybe taking the train all the way down to Southern California, like taking the whole coast trip, maybe next summer.
Amazing, yeah.
Maybe next summer.
So pretty. I mean, so pretty. I mean, just the one.
I might be able to talk him into that.
It's a train. Just make sure you take your own food because Amtrak just be charging.
Oh yeah, no. I go down. My best friend lived in Portland for a decade, so I know that route very well, and I know exactly like.
What to take.
Yeah, never gonna do a Greyhound again, but the trains, I feel comfy with that.
Yeah, Greyhounds.
You don't know when the last time they cleaned that shit, so
right, never,
never.
Jeez.
Anyway, hit me, white guy.
All right then. By the way, the last line of this episode is from Granddad. It says, "Don't nobody go in the bathroom for 45 minutes." Woo! Open a window. Well, that's from his. That's from Friday. From his line.
There's I love how much they throw in little throwbacks to Friday constantly. There's just little pieces here and there. Every once in a while, somebody will say something. You're like, wait a second, cutie pie.
Yeah, cutie pie. Yeah.
It's so good. I watched Soul Food because there's little faith, fuck the family. Like that is a big like black people catchphrase or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you might talk me into watching that eventually.
So I found this on Twitter, and I've heard this. I'm sure y'all have heard this before, but isn't it racist to say white people are racist?
Why?
Because
white is not a race.
You're specifying
white
specific.
Is not a race.
You're specifying white people.
White is not a race. White is not a race.
No,
I feel offended and oppressed.
I feel like even if it were though, like it's not like it's untrue. You know what I mean? It's not like that statement. I'm thinking like high school logic, saying white people are racist does not mean everybody else isn't racist too. I'm just speaking about racist white people at the moment because the country in which we live in predominantly operates on a system of white privilege that encourages and allows you guys to blindly engage in racism. Sorry, not sorry.
And the benefit, even if you don't particularly yourself subscribe to those racist beliefs, you benefit from them in almost everything that you do.
Exactly.
Yes. Hence white privilege. Please don't get mad at that term because it is very, very much a real thing. Like you guys get to Karens. There wouldn't be Karens if you guys didn't feel empowered to be assholes, like to just be blatant, racist, bigoted assholes. That's what it should be. The definition next to the name Karen. These things are possible because of your behavior and because of the privilege that you all feel.
When you're 72% of the society, whatever race you might be, let's say you're it could be it could have been reversed just as easily potentially.
Well,
I mean, because
not necessarily. Think of South Africa, where black people were still the majority, but were absolutely the minority in the eyes of who was in power. It depends on who's in power.
True, but I mean, when we came over here and the white people, I'm saying, came over here and then basically removed all of the indigenous folk and said, "Look what we found."
Yep.
And and then brought in. And I'll get into this, something I had thought about because of this episode. But we brought in black folks to do work for us because they were free. So and then in this episode, only the illegal Mexicans, because now we had to give freedom to the black folks. So we had to come up with a way to still get some cheaper labor because we can kind of sneak around that. So yeah, that's that's kind of where my mind went with that. But yeah, it had the power structure been different. Oh, we lost Craig again. Craig. But anyway, I don't know why we keep losing Craig.
He's a racist.
Craig's a Trump supporter.
Maybe so. But 1 second. I'm gonna get Craig back in here. Craig, damn you!
Now recording.
There you go. Thank you, Craig. So anyway, what was I saying? White people are racist, I think, because somehow, I don't know how did white people get into power? I mean, how was that allowed? I mean, y'all should not have. You shouldn't have let us do that. So
I'm pretty sure.
Just let them.
I'm pretty sure there was like millennia of fighting against that, but white people somehow managed to steal enough power to take more.
That's kind of always surprised me because I think there are more of other colors, other races than white folk. I don't think I would be wrong in saying that.
I think before white people conquered
in the before 4 times.
I think before white people conquered the quote unquote, known world, the cultures of all of the different people that they came in contact with didn't have that idea of power. So when the white people came and enforced their power on people, they didn't know how to combat it. And, there's, again, millennia of wars that were fought over land, and all of it was somebody trying to take somebody else's land. It's always been like that. So, always since we've become, cultures where we bundle together into tribes. And in
a microcosm, that's Donald Trump. It's like nobody told him no. And so
Donald Trump is absolutely the epitome of white privilege. He has benefited from being born to money, to have parents continue to give him money throughout his life as long as they were alive, to inherit money then when they died, to get bailed out every time he failed at something new, to never have anyone around him who held him accountable for the things that he did, for always having sycophantic people around him because all that he was worth to people was the money that he gave them. And the only way that they would get that money is if they cowed to him and like let him again have that control and that power. And just it's absolutely.
And he's not a rare case study. Right. It may not be to the same level of grandeur, but there are so many, no shade, white men who I know exactly like this. Daddy bails you out. Your sister calls in a favor. Your cousin knows the mayor of your city and suddenly, they know the police chief and then your DUI is, it happens so often. And I think honestly, like not to just put it on quote unquote white people, I think they got power the same way they maintain it, which is divide and conquer.
Yes.
There were already a lot of, and to your point, Tiara, like I'm not going to generalize and say like there weren't other warlike tribes and races and,
there absolutely
and groups
were
out there. Yes.
I mean, there were black people that sold black people, like Africans who sold other Africans into slavery. Absolutely. Yeah. Anytime they would like capture in war. My point was more that the, no, because they didn't invade a lot of
they exploited it.
Yes.
My point. Like I'm right there with you. They said, "Oh, cool. Oh, you don't like that group over there? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Come on, y'all.
Exactly.
Like get over here." And they united in the usurping of power and continued to divide even to 2020 Day America, where this shit continues.
Yeah, the only one that I can think of that is not Caucasian would be Genghis Khan.
Spain. The Spaniards. Portugal.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just white people, but predominantly the areas that white people conquered made them richer and more powerful over and over and over again until ultimately they had this huge piece of the world that was all of theirs.
Yeah.
And they lost a lot of that power, but the people are still there. And
so another conqueror, and one of the first conquerors were actually the Moors, even though they tried to change that history. One of the first conquerors were the Moors. So that's before all Caucasians and everything else.
Yeah.
We were the first to do a lot of things that they don't want to
give us credit for. True.
No. I mean, I think of that scene in True Romance where the dad who's about to get killed by Christopher Walken and is talking about the Moors conquered Italy, and that's how the Italians used to be.
I learned about the Moors because of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I was like, why is he afraid of him? Because he's a Moor. Oh, honey, let me tell you. Okay.
I'm going to sound so ignorant. Like so many people listening to this are going to start screaming at their phones or whatever they're listening on. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I recall like reading or learning something like people in Kush, in Timbuktu, etc., had all this advanced technology, gunpowder, mathematics, etc., but they were like centers of knowledge. Like if I recall correctly, Plato, Socrates, etc., studied over in these African countries that were very giving and providing and free flowing with the information and knowledge. Like they looked at themselves as education centers.
Yes.
So people went and took this technology and then took it back to their hometowns and kind of used it for warlike purposes instead of spreading knowledge.
And then went back.
I believe the alchemist that's where he traveled to. His journey, I believe, was to Africa. That's how I take it because of all the knowledge that was being acquired. And what I know is that, our tribes, our ancestors, there were groups of educators. There were groups of healers. There were groups of, like everybody kind of had their specialty and what they did and what they provided or what they added to society, what they were able to give to make society better. So I completely, agree with you on that. Like wherever you read it, I, kind of read the same information, but it's super powerful to know. Cleopatra was using, cannabis in her bath, women used to bathe together to do yoni steams, and they were using cannabis and using, just other things that were naturally grown there. The pyramids, come on, that is like, come on, you know what I'm saying? Like these people had to be using mathematics and other forms of our basic, learning structures now to be able to do that, without any modern freaking technology.
So one of the, and this goes back to what I was saying, the reason why we don't know all of these things or we don't believe all of these things widespread is because history is written by the victors. And so therefore most of our history has been written by white people. That's literally like those education centers, that information that was learned there was taken back and eventually bastardized into really terrible things that ended up helping conquer those countries and those places and burn to the ground all of that knowledge. I mean, the Library of Alexandria, like when I first learned about that, I had like pain, like I was actively seeing this happen. Because just the idea of all of that knowledge being lost forever because the person who was conquering didn't want that knowledge to get out. Yeah. That has happened so many times over and over again in history. And it comes down to this quote unquote, not race, not one type of person, but this overarching power structure that leads from lightest to darkest.
And I think a lot of that, I mean, especially back then because the Middle East had some of the very first astronomers and figuring out calculus and everything like that. And it was when religion, in that case, when Islam came to there, they had to say, no, your education, your knowledge, your actual facts doesn't beat my invisible God. So,
well, and I mean, literally, the Dark Ages were because they denied science for so long.
Yep.
Like it wasn't dark because it was like the sky was dark or some shit.
That's and all of that. I mean, unfortunately, the thing that's supposed to bring people comfort and things like that is the thing that has destroyed so much of knowledge, religion. So
For an easy example, just right off the top of my head, let's just talk about King James Version of the Bible. Why is it called the King James Version of the Bible? Oh, because it was pieced together in order to please this particular king who was in power at the time. And parts that he didn't like were taken out, and parts that he did like were added in, and stories were expanded or cut depending on the people who were in power. So
women were taken out, women were put in.
Oh yeah. Women were villainized. Women were villainized from like the beginning of it.
They were.
The initial was from Emperor Constantine, who had his, because Constantine was looking for a way to bring power over people by emplacing religion, and he had enough power that he could gather all these people together and say, I like that will work. Nope, that's going. And the Jacobites, which is King James, and Scotland, Scottish, Scottish people will fuck some shit up.
Outlander. That's how I know about that. I know about the Jacobites because of TV. Thank you.
So then white people got a hold of it.
White.
And it was all downhill from there. Because it was Scottish people over here who created the KKK. So
really?
Oh yeah.
Boy, yeah.
Yep. Campbell.
I keep forgetting.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Me either.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I love my Scottish heritage for a lot of things. I mean, they fought against the Brit, because the Scottish folks were basically the lesser of, the lesser than, and so they were wanting, they were fought for years and years against the English, against the Britons, which then became the English, and then ended up taking over Scotland.
He knows a lot of stuff about Scotland, and he can talk about it for hours.
But anyway, so I mean, that was how. I mean, this is, and the Scottish people are still trying to get away from England to this day.
Yep.
So
very true.
Anyway,
listen, everybody.
So let's blame it all on England.
Yes, that's it.
All right. So yeah, I think that about wraps it up. There was one little trivia thing that I thought was really cool. The montage song.
Oh yeah.
Straight Out of the Oven, Made with Nothing But Lovin', was also written by, is it Asheru?
Asheru, I think I've never actually heard it pronounced, but I mean it sounds logical that it would be Asheru.
And they are.
That's who wrote the theme song for the show.
Yeah.
So
we're seeing that person pop up over and over again now because part of one of his songs was in the MLK speech.
Yep, that was.
And then we've got this video, and
I can't say the name of it because it's an N-word.
Yes.
So yeah, I think I sent that in the team chat where about with the link to that song because it goes more in depth other than just what you hear. There's a lot more about the alt love to complain, all this stuff, and then and then there's the second part is I love them because this and this and this. So it's like the duality.
That's awesome. Well, I do want to give a quick shout out to everybody that's been commenting and leaving messages. Those that, said they would like to have further conversation with us. I think that's really cool. I see the tweets. I've seen some, I actually downloaded Discord from my phone, so I'm getting notifications when people comment there. So
join the Discord out there. Everybody join the Discord if you're not already on it. We'll have the link in the show notes for an invite.
Yeah, it's a great way. We'd love to talk to you guys and continue the conversation and, definitely feel like you can feel free to bend our ears and, we love to talk. So, hey. But I just wanted to give a shout out to all of those people. I think that's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool.
And all of those people who are not on our social media yet, but have started to figure out how to do it. I want to shout out to them too. I get random messages on Twitter. Hey, I just found your show and it's really great. And like, they're not adding me or anything like that. They're just like saying, hey, this is really cool. Thanks for doing it. Yeah. And I think that's just really amazing.
Cool. It is. It makes us even more rewarding. Definitely.
Yeah.
All
right.
And hope everybody because this is going to be out over the weekend. So hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you don't do Thanksgiving, I hope you had a good week.
Yes.
And hopefully, and if you work retail, I hope you get a day off.
Oh yeah. I hope you got that itis.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I need you to get the hell up out of here.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us again as we make our way through the trials and tribulations of the Freeman family. We hope to see you back again next week for Let's Nab Oprah.
Want to know where to find us on the social medias or where to subscribe to the podcast? Just head right over to www.theboondockspod.com/links.
Have a stupid white people question you want to leave us? Email us at host@theboondockspod.com or leave us a voicemail at 760-933-8636. That's 760-3-UNDO.
Shout out to the artists who've created our intro and outro tunes. Our intro is #MakeAChange by KIRK. You can find them on Spotify, iTunes, and Tidal. Our outro is Good Times by Audio Binger. You can find them on freemusicarchive.org and YouTube.